Okay, hi again, Professor Ron, and this is video 2 in my series of lecture instructional videos on the creation of graphs. Don't pay any attention to my t-shirt, which tells you that 5 out of 4 people struggle with math. That's supposed to be a joke. Let's not make you one of those people that do struggle with math. Following the step-by-step instructions that you're going to get here, you should be able to produce a lot of very professional graphs, various graphs that you might need, whether you need it for school, you need it for work, or just general information that you want to do. This is going to give you an easy way to not stress over statistics, graph creation, and you're going to be able to very quickly create the kind of professional graph that you're going to want to have. So with that being said, let's get into the instructions that you're going to need for part 2. If you haven't watched part 1 of graphing, I would suggest that you go back and start with that before you get into this, but it really isn't necessary if you'd rather not. Okay, what you're about to look at is the second graphing video out of a total of 4. The first one that I hope you've already watched is basically not doing any graphs, but just telling you how to put together a frequency table, which is the basis for a lot of the graphs that you're going to want to create using Excel or numbers. I should also point out at this time that all of the videos that I have put together can be found on my website. The address is right there. You ought to copy that down. All of those are free to use. All of those will walk you through step by step what needs to be done in each one of the areas that they cover. What's important to me is that you take the time to subscribe to my channel. That way you'll always get copies of the new videos that I create as I post them. And you're going to need a Google email address to do that, but if you don't have one, they'll kind of walk you through what you need to do so you'll be able to get one easily. It's also important that I get your input. If you love the video, you can see your way clear to giving me a thumbs up, great. But if you see things are missing or you'd like to see things done differently, please give me a thumbs down. And in the comment area on the lower left, tell me what you didn't like about what was done. And if you have further questions, I can respond right back directly to you. And in any case, I will have the ammunition to go in and correct what it is to make what you're trying to learn a lot easier for you. So let's kind of move on now.
This instructional video is going to cover the creation of several different kinds of graphs using your iPad Pro. The operating system in the iPad Pro is slightly different than if you were using a MacBook or a PC, and the videos in this section and all of the videos in the course are geared to doing the work on the iPad Pro. There will be some included videos at the end in Canvas that will walk you through the creation of graphs and performing other functions using a PC or a MacBook. At any rate, this group is geared to just looking at the creation of bar charts. And you can see on this video that you're looking at that the first thing that is indicated is a vertical bar chart. And to create a vertical bar chart, we got to start out with having some data, and this is just some fictitious data that was created. And typically what you're going to do is, on a vertical bar chart, you're going to create bars for each one of the data items. In this case, the data is not totaled, or the frequency is not totaled. And by the way, the column that says vertical bar chart, that's really the column on the graph that would indicate the frequencies, the number of times that the particular item occurred. In this case, you could see blue occurred 16 times, green 23, and so forth. So to create the graph, what we're going to do is we're going to highlight the first two columns. The rating and the cost factor are part of the chart that we're using to create the graph, but they have nothing to do with the frequencies. And so we're not going to highlight them because we're not going to use them. We are going to highlight the header. In this case, it's going to say vertical bar chart, and by highlighting it that way, when we create the graph, it's going to show vertical bar chart in the title. So once we've highlighted the data, we're going to go to the top green menu. We're going to select Insert. Insert, we're going to select Chart, and then we're going to select Column Chart. It's the one that's showing us vertical columns. And in most cases, for the purposes of this course, we're going to select the mat that's in the upper left-hand corner, the format that we're going to use on just about all of these. And so we're going to select the one in the upper left-hand corner, and Excel is going to create a nice chart for us, and it's going to label it vertical bar chart. And so what do you have? You have the individual colors listed along the x-axis on the bottom, and the frequencies are on the vertical axis, and the bar's height indicates the actual count on all of those. The second chart we're going to create, as you can see, is using the same data. It's the second group of stuff that's listed below the first group that we just did. And you'll notice instead of saying vertical bar chart, it says histogram. Well, in order to draw a histogram or create a histogram, you got to know what it is. And so the histogram, and hopefully you've read chapter 2, will explain to you that a histogram is a vertical bar chart in whatever order we're given the data, just like it's listed there, where the bars are touching. If you don't make it where the bars are touching, all you'll have is a vertical bar chart. So to create that, we're going to highlight these first two columns again. And when we're happy that we've got the right ones highlighted, we're going to select Insert again. We're going to select Chart. We're going to select Column Chart, just like we did before. When we create the graph, we have something that's labeled a histogram. It looks just like the one that we did above, and it's incorrect. And what makes it incorrect is the bars aren't touching. So in order to fix that, to move the bars over wider so that they're touching, we're going to go to the second menu bar, starting with where it says Types, and we're going to select Layouts. And when we select Layouts, Excel is going to give us all of the available layouts. Now what we want is a layout where all of the bars are touching. And then you'll see on the right-hand side, the second to the last one that's there, there is a sample of a graph where all of the bars are touching. All we need to do is to select that, and what we've now created is a histogram. Very similar to the graph that we've created above. Bars are the same heights, but now the bars are thicker and the bars are touching, and so it qualifies as a histogram. The next thing that we're asked to do is to create a Pareto chart. And just like with the histogram, in order to create a Pareto chart, step one is you got to know what it is. A Pareto chart is a couple of things. It's a vertical bar chart like the first two are. It's a histogram so that the bars are touching like the second one is, with one more proviso. It has to be shown in descending order of frequency. And you can see from looking at the way our data is presented that where it says Pareto chart, which represents the frequencies, the numbers are not in descending order. If we ask Excel to sort this data for us, the default sort that it would give us would be by the column on the left. It would sort alphabetically by the colors. We're going to now highlight all of the data, including the header, and we're going to ask Excel to sort it for us. We want a couple of things. We want Excel to sort it in descending order by the frequency column, which is the one labeled Pareto Chart. But we want to keep the integrity of the other fields. You see that the rating for blue is 7 and the cost factor is 15. We want to resort the data, but after we resort it, we don't want to lose the fact that the rating for blue is 7 and the cost factor is 15. Now we're going to go ahead to the second white menu column up above, and the last item over marked A to Z is for sorting. We're going to select it, and we're going to be given 3 choices: sort ascending, sort descending, and show filter buttons. Now, as I mentioned earlier, if we just picked sort ascending, what Excel was going to do is going to sort in alphabetical order the data, which is currently sorted ascending. And it's not going to give us what we want. So what we're going to do is we're going to show the filter buttons. And then when we show the filter buttons, you look at our data. On the top header column, you'll see a down arrow on the lower right-hand corner of each one of the fields. We're going to select Pareto Chart. And when we select Pareto Chart, and we'll hit the down arrow, I hope. Try it again. It finally, fat fingers, guys, so forgive me. We want to sort from the largest to the smallest from that top column. Now when we've done that, when I hit OK to do that, you can see that the data has maintained all its integrity. We still have, for blue, a rating of 7 and a cost factor of 15 because we sorted all of the data. Once we're happy with that, we can now highlight the first 2 columns, including the header, and we can say to insert a chart, a column chart. We'll again pick the one in the upper left-hand corner. We'll slide that over, and it's indicating Pareto Chart, but it's wrong. And what makes it wrong is the bars aren't touching. So we'll select Layouts, and go back down to the second to the last on the right, and now we have a Pareto Chart which is showing the data from largest to smallest. So if we go back now, we have a vertical bar chart, standard one. We have a histogram, and we have a Pareto Chart. So all 3 of those items are there listed for us. So now what's left is same data as we started working with, and this time we're asked to do a horizontal bar chart. So we're just going to move this over to the frequency field. We're going to select the one under the review in the second row. When I did that, Excel made the row and column wider so horizontal bar wouldn't overlap. Once we have those 2 things completed, we're now ready to highlight this data and create our horizontal bar chart. So we're going to say to insert, not to draw, chart, and we're going to go down to the fourth item, which is going to say bar chart. We're going to take the one in the upper left-hand corner, and now we're going to have a horizontal bar chart. Now you can switch back and forth from graph type to graph type if you want, but for the purposes of this instructions, I wanted to walk you through each one of the things that you needed to do to create your horizontal bar chart, as well as each of the vertical bar charts. So I'm going to end this video here and then pick up the next one, which will demonstrate how you can create other types of graph using the similar data or any kind of data that you have.
Thanks for watching this instructional video. And you'll notice I called it lecture/instructional video, because instead of just being straight instructions, there's a lecture along with it that will help you to gain more knowledge of the subject. All of the videos, by the way, that are on my website. And the address of the website is shown on this slide right now. And also, I invite you to please enter any comments or questions you had about the video in the area below the screen. And what's most important to me anyways is to have you subscribe to my channel in order to get copies of new videos as I post them. To do this, you'll need a Google email address, and if you don't have one, YouTube should walk you through what you need to do to get one if you don't already have one that you use. Certainly, in addition to anything else, your input is going to help me to improve the stuff I'm presenting. So any comments that you have will be appreciated. A thumbs up is what I would hope for, but if there are things that you think need improvement, give me a thumbs down and tell me what it is that I need to do to make these videos mean more for you. Thanks again for watching.